I recently learned of a story that has been passed down from generation to generation in Japan. It's actually an ancient story that comes from their ancestors, and as they told this story, they had an illustration that used blocks and stones and basically anything they had around in their time period to illustrate the story of this dragon, and it's actually a three-part trilogy, a saga of sorts. And so today I would like to present for you part one of this dragon trilogy. It starts as most dragon stories do, with a dragon terrorizing a village. The emperor of this village decided that he needed to get the help of a wizard to make a box to trap the dragon. And in this little illustration, this block right here will represent our dragon. You can see the dragon on all sides there, okay? And the emperor commissioned the wizard to build a box that would render the dragon powerless. So the wizard did. He put a spell on a cage, was able to get the dragon inside, and it was rendered completely powerless with its power of flight, fight, and fire. No more had those powers. He was completely powerless. But the wizard knew that this cage wouldn't be able to contain the dragon for eternity because the dragon would grow bigger and bigger and eventually be too big for the cage. So the wizard set about creating a plan. And this is the plan that the wizard came up with. He decided to build a tower. This actually isn't the tower is underneath. And the wizard built the tower out of blocks, big, massive building blocks, until the tower was so tall that it reached into the heavens. And the wizard carried the dragon, personally escorted the dragon to the very top of the tower that he had made. Now the tower had a spell on it which again rendered the dragon completely powerless as long as the dragon were on top of this tower. But if the dragon ever returned down to earth, and if the dragon's body ever touched earth once again, he would get all of his powers back and the wizard's spell would be broken. And the dragon knew this. So he waited for the dark of night. And when the dark of night came, the dragon began to shake. And as he was chained, he shook that tower ferociously. And he knew for certain that he had shaken the tower so much that it had fallen apart and crumbled, and that he were now on planet Earth. But when dawn came, the tower was still perfectly intact. But the dragon thought he saw a crack in the facade. He did not realize that the wizard had rendered this tower completely impenetrable. But he thought he saw a crack. So he waited for the night to strike once again. And once again, the dragon set to work, shaking that tower, shaking it so much, in fact, that he was 100% certain that he had done a full rotation and he was now touching Earth and the tower was stacked on his back. And yet, when dawn broke, everything was just as it was moments before, with the dragon still at the top of the tower. Now, confused and angry that this had happened, the dragon set to work trying again. He knew for certain that he was trapped, but he thought maybe he got confused in the turning and the turmoil of the night. So he thought for this last night, he will officially be able to break free. So the dragon once again shook and shook and shook and shook and shook the tower, once again revolving it a full 360. He was 100% certain that he had now touched Earth and he would be able to fly free. But for some reason, when dawn broke, he found he was still trapped at the top of the tower, just as he was the very day the wizard put him there. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is part one of the Dragon trilogy called Trapped.